I'm Kira Morgan, and I'm here today at the home of Steve and Judy Sparks, and I'm so excited because they are here to talk a little bit about their new book, Furry Loved Ones and Wildlife Friends That Have Touched Our Hearts. And it's something, of course, furry friends and wildlife touch my heart very much. So I'm excited for this interview. So, Steve, let's start off with you. Tell us a little bit about you and the inspiration for this book.
Great, thank you. We are excited about being here. Judy and I put this book together in 60 days, believe it or not. I became addicted to writing these stories using characters like Downtown Willie Wabbit, and Captain Pete Pelican and the Flying Aces of Little Whale Cove. How do you like that? And then Matt and Maddie, the Canadian honkers, and then our little kitty Simba. But really, the original inspiration of this is about 10 years ago. When Byron and I first joined Neighbors for Kids on the board, and we helped open up Neighbors for Kids. And he and I became very, very close friends, and you were a close friend of Byron, and we were all dear friends on the board of Neighbors for Kids, taking that organization to a whole new business model. So one day Byron and I were having coffee, as we would, a coffee chat. And I was telling him about the book I wanted to write, and I wanted to put my story together so that I could heal, and maybe that might help other folks heal. And Judy had been supporting it, and she got behind it, and a lot of other folks got behind that and encouraged me to do it. But Byron Lewis, bless his soul, he's the one. Okay, so this book was published November of 2011, Reconciliation to Sun Story. It's on my author page. It can be purchased with Furry Loved Ones, the same way. But it's the beginning of what happened is that we started a blog and we named it Children and Families and Life After Trauma. And for years, I wrote for it. And Judy helped me edit all that. And Byron did too. Byron helped me write the book, okay? So everybody was helping Steve get ready to do this. I had some writing skills because I majored in journalism. And I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote in my career, so I could do that. But I had to learn how to write stories. So fast forward 2021, and all of a sudden we have this media platform. We can sell books on it. We couldn't do that 10 years ago. So I have to thank Byron Lewis and all the people that helped me start, especially Judy. She's still here.
So, Judy, tell us a little bit about your involvement with the book.
Well, I guess I've had a passion for literature pretty much my entire life, and I've worked with children in my second career for about 25 years. And so anyway, I guess that's part of my passion for this book project, but the other piece of it is that behind the scenes, I've lived with Steve since he started acknowledging his need for healing in his own life. And that first book that he described was really the door opener for recognizing that and just starting to peel back the onion and get to the core of where anyone who's experienced trauma, either as a child or in a military setting or whatever the venue is, sometimes they keep all that tucked away. And so that was sort of a beginning for Steve to start addressing his life experiences like that. So fast forward, to quote Steve, 10 years later, the book project that I've been working with him on these last 2 months, it's exciting to me because it shows me, probably the person closest to him on the planet, how much healing has really happened in his life, especially from all these years of writing, his blog, and we've gotten into doing a lot of mindfulness moments creations and that kind of stuff. So by the time we got going on this project, it was like bam, 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 the stories were coming out, at least one a day, if not more on some days. And they were fun, and they were uplifting, and they were happy stories. And, together, one of our common bonds is our interest in nature and the environment. And all these stories take place in this beautiful, Oregon coast environment that we get to live in.
And of course, we know that animals truly bring us healing and a way to cope with stress and cope with trauma and experience healing. Can you talk a little bit about how your book talks about that?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that, Kira, because that's a big deal. When the pandemic hit, everything stopped for us, especially me. In terms of my professional work in Lincoln County, it was an amazing experience with Commissioner Claire Hall and Sheriff Curtis Landers to put Lincoln County back on the map in terms of taking care of the homeless folks and all that. So it stopped. So I thought, with all the hate going on in this political season, I wanted to find love. I wanted to find kindness, and she said she did too. So where did we find kindness and love? In our backyard. And we've been living here for 16 years, and we've known it. We love the coast, we love everything about it, but this technology thing gave me something as a tool where I could really get my message out there. So these characters have only love and kindness in their heart. I can't find one furry loved one. We've got them here that I've written about. Steve and Harry across the street, Cassie's dogs. And I've written about furry loved ones that have passed. So I've got rainbow bridge stories in there that'll make you laugh and cry. The main thing that got me started doing this is our dog Sky, who was with us for 12 years. And you may have met Sky, but he was here with us and then with Sarah off to college and down to Huntington Beach and back up to Seattle and Portland, everywhere in that.
Sky was Sarah's daughter.
And Sarah is your daughter?
Daughter Sarah.
Youngest daughter is Sarah, yes.
And she's just got married a year ago, and they're gonna have a baby boy, so we get to be new grandparents. How about that? So when that happened, it was terrible. It was such grieving because that dog was our dog too. So I wrote about it. And I cried and grieved, and I said, well, I've got to keep writing, so I'm going to go on to Mocha. And then I'm going to go on to Sadie. And then so we've got all our dogs, and then I looked around the neighborhood and or other places, and I found that somebody's dog had passed. And then Cecile E. Kennedy, who is a photographer, has this beautiful rainbow picture, and I asked her if I could use that. So I started writing rainbow bridge stories for people, making other people feel good. And then I started asking people to contribute. Claire contributed. Boggs, and Boggs, Eleanor, and family. She contributed to the book.
Her cats.
And so everybody everybody's involved in this thing, everybody in the county. I've been running these stories as blogs, so I've got 52 stories on a page for furry loved ones and wildlife friends. So everybody can go to that page. But we said, let's do a book. And it's healing. And it was a milestone for my own healing. I feel so much better as a result of telling my story through animal characters that only have love and kindness. They have souls like we had never seen once you get to know them. So do the eagles, so do the Canadian hawkers, so do the gray whales, so do the pelicans, the crows, and the owls, and Sammy and the squirrel gang. Sammy and Stan. So we got Sammy and Stan that run across
I thought I saw them running across the roof.
They run across the roofs, and I named them Sammy. And then in the earlier, the first queen bee showed up. I named her Bessie.
Bessie B.
And I wrote 2 stories about Bessie.
So most of the wildlife stories that Steve's written, he uses a lot of metaphors, and most of the stories are okay for children as well as adults, but some of the nuances, it would probably be an older child, middle school and up, that would appreciate the metaphors that he includes in those stories.
And Judy, the book can be pre-ordered, is that correct? And how can people get this book?
Well, Steve has included on his blog a link to pre-order the books through KDP.
Amazon.com, KDP. So we write, edit, and publish our own books now. So I really have a tool that there's a lot of writing, and I might do a second edition of this one now. But we have this platform. We can do anything with it now, and just the 2 of us. So we're working with Oregon Coast Community College right now with Misty Lambret, and she's coming in to help us a bit on how to monetize the website and doing things like that. You and I talked about collaborating. That's what we're doing. We're building a community. We're building a community news network, community sharing network, right?
It's exciting. I love working with local authors and bringing that positive message. I've worked a lot with other local community authors and helping them to promote their books, and I always think it's exciting to read books that include information about our area.
Yes.
Lori Tobias's Storm Beat.
Yes.
That was an exciting book to read and really hit home with me as a news person. So, and I have a great love, of course, of animals, domestic animals, and also, wildlife as well. And so I'm excited about the book. You can get more information right on the front page at pnwne.com. You'll see a banner ad there with a picture of Steve and Judy Sparks and some information about the book. You can just click on that banner ad, go right where you need to go. Also on our outdoor page, we have information up about your blog as well. So thank you both so much for sharing about your wonderful book. I encourage folks to pre-order and then order.
Yes, they're selling like hotcakes already. I'm getting messages all over we have thousands of followers now that are all drawn in the work we're doing, plus the drift art and the air plants and shells and all that. That's kind of become an addiction here. All about healing is what we do.
So pick up your copy, Furry, Loved Ones, and Wildlife Friends That Have Touched Our Hearts, with Steve and Judy Sparks. I'm Kira Morgan for Pacific Northwest News and Entertainment.